So as a podcaster and a content creator, I've been using StreamYard for about 5 years now, and I find it a really useful tool to record on what I say is on the fly. So if you're someone who's wanting to streamline your production process, then this software is a software that may be able to help you do that. So not only do you have the ability with StreamYard to do live streaming, which is what it's best known for, you can also do pre-recording. So let's see if it's the right fit for you. Let's get into it. So when you first log into StreamYard, what you're going to see is a screen that has on the left-hand side here, a home, a library, destinations, and members. So the home screen is basically where you choose to create your very own reusable studios. You can choose to go live from here. You can also choose to record, or if you have the higher end package, you can also create an on-air webinar. Now with the webinar software, if it's something that you're looking to do, say in business, or if you have a membership as a content creator, then this is a useful way to connect with a large number of people and capture not only some income, but also their email address, say to build a list or for lead generation. Now, I don't use webinar software. I use a different program for that, but this is a all-in-one option if you want to pay for the highest tier of this particular software. What we're going to focus on today is actually recording and also the live streaming options. You'll see here there's reusable studios. I'll talk about those in a little bit. And you also have streams and recordings that you've not only got upcoming, but also that you've done in the past. So as we go down the side here, the library is a record of things that you've done that are stored on the servers of StreamYard. Now, you also need to set up your destinations when you first arrive to this software and you haven't yet set it up. You need to add the destinations that you want to stream to. Now, based on the tier that you're on will determine how many platforms you can actually stream to. And in this case, these are the platforms. You can go to your Facebook page, Facebook group, a private profile, LinkedIn page, a LinkedIn profile, and a YouTube channel, and also X. You can also go vertically to Instagram. You can add your own Twitch feed, and you can also go to Hop-In or add a custom RTMP feed. So you can see you have a whole number of options for destinations there. And the amazing thing is you can multi-stream or multicast to multiple platforms at the same time, as I say, depending on the tier that you choose. Now, the next button here, the members, is where you can invite team members. Now, based on your tier, again, determines how many team members you need. But this is useful if you want someone to help you produce a podcast or, say, a show. And as a solo creator, you don't have the ability or time to switch between layouts and things of that nature, which I'll show you in a minute what I mean by layouts. Now, you also, on the left here, have a referrals tab. Now, this is different to the affiliate program. This is actually gives you the ability to earn some credit when you refer friends or family, but you don't necessarily need to be or want to be part of an affiliate program. You actually get credit against your own use or membership or tier here when you refer others to the program. And they provide a nice little link over here where you don't have to be part of an affiliate for a payout, for example. In this case, they're just going to credit against your existing account. You also have some team settings here where you can name your team and things like that. And your billing and packages also under this tab. I won't click on that because I don't want to show you private information, but that is where you can upgrade your package as well. Now, there is a tab here, system status, which is always good to check before you go live and or record to make sure everything's working okay on their end. So you can see here, everything's working okay according to this. As actually the first time I've seen any red bars on this page, so it definitely works, and they definitely share when the platforms, may have some issues or glitches for something to be aware of. You can also see here you have some storage, which the storage is up to 50 hours. Now, your free version offers the same amount of storage, which I think is pretty impressive. It doesn't go on resolution or file size. It goes on how many hours. And also you can add more if you choose to. You can pay for more storage on their servers if it's something you feel you need. And if you run out of storage on the package you have, it will just delete older videos if you choose that to be an option, or it'll warn you and tell you that you're low on storage and you need to delete something. All right, so let's get back to this home screen here and let's have a look inside one of these studios that I've already set up. So we're going to go to this StreamYard production demonstration one here, just enter the studio. So the first thing that you're going to be seeing with this particular studio is this screen here. Now this screen is the screen that your guests will also see when they're looking to enter the studio, and basically it's where you approve your mic and your camera. Now if your browser hasn't yet got approval for this site, it will prompt you in the screen at the top to allow your microphone and camera for this particular platform. If you don't do that either on your phone, if you don't allow the device, or on your computer, then you're not going to be able to display your camera and or record your audio. So make sure when you're first signing in, registering into this, either as a guest and or if you're recording, that you're taking that into account. So let's look at the settings here. So you can see you can choose from any number of cameras. You can obviously have more than one camera if you pay for a higher tier, but in this case, I just need the one camera. You can also choose your definition of your camera here. 1080p is more than enough. And then you can also choose to mirror your camera if you choose. I don't do that. And you can also touch up your appearance if you, like me, don't wear makeup and you want to hide some of those like wrinkles that you believe you don't have, then this is potentially an option to help you clean up your face a little bit, so to speak. And then you have your audio as well. You can choose where your audio source is. In this case, I'm just using the webcam. And you can see that the volume meter there is displaying for that to show that it's working. You can also test the audio if you're interviewing guests. You want to make sure your speakers work. So here you can test that your speakers are working. There are some other features you can choose to turn on or off, which is your echo cancellation, which I highly recommend you do that. The reason being, it's going to help reduce feedback through the other person or your guest's audio and microphone. So we want to reduce that. We want to clean that up. You can also reduce some background noise. It'll detect that using AI, and you can also adjust the mic volume automatically as well from here if you select that. As far as virtual backgrounds go, I do not recommend people use virtual backgrounds without a green screen because they can look quite unprofessional. Even though this will handle it, I notice on some people who use this software that they will like get an artifact or artifacts around them as they move if they don't have a solid background color in their videos, and it can look quite poor from a viewer perspective if it's not done well. So I recommend you do use this if you have a green screen or a solid color behind you. But if, like for me, example, my background, I wouldn't use it for something like this because it's broken up by different types of objects. So just something to consider whether that's a feature you want to use or not. You can also add your own backgrounds if you want. If you want to make it look like you're at work instead of at home, that might be an option. Then you've got the recording feature, which allows you to choose to record to local hard drive as well as up on StreamYard. Then the next tab is your hotkeys, which basically are the keys that you can set up to navigate the layouts to make it easy to change and switch between different cameras and also assets that you add to your studio. So when I say assets, I mean video, screen shares, slide deck, things of that nature. Now, the last tab here is your guests. This gives you some extra features that allow you to choose whether your guest can stream to multiple destinations, and that depends again on the package that you're on, but that will give you more audience reach. So if you're using this feature and you've got a guest and you enable this feature, it's going to allow them to also restream this to their YouTube or their Facebook, for example. And as you can see, it allows them to add, I think it's up to 2 destinations. I just checked that. I think it's 2 destinations. Yes, Facebook, YouTube, etc. It also says that you can allow up to 6 guests destinations in total. So if you have 6 guests, they could all be sharing it to their YouTube channel at the same time, or Facebook, or one of those, or both potentially. So if you think about the power of the audience reach that you potentially get from just enabling that feature on a higher end package, then it makes live streaming and recording those lives on multiple platforms worth doing. You also have some other features there. Do you want the guests to see comments? Do you want to play sounds when guests enter, things of that nature? And then the last one there, guests need to authenticate. Now, I think this is a really important one because if you look underneath that, it has banned guests. If you have like a bad player or bad operator and you want to block them from your live streams, or say someone were to get the link to the live stream, then they have to authenticate when this is ticked through Facebook or YouTube, which basically means they have to be a legitimate human being. They can't just be someone random. They have to have proved on those platforms that they've been a good part of behavior, or had good behavior on the community guidelines according to, say, Meta or Google or YouTube in this case. Now, the other feature you can see there is Green Room, which if you're on a higher package allows you to have your guests come in behind the scenes before they go live. And in this case, I don't have that, so I don't need to upgrade to that feature. I don't need it, but it might be something that you actually need. You can see here that it gives me the option to display my name, which I've already typed in. Remember that from last time. I'm just going to hit enter the studio. So now that I'm in the studio, what you're actually seeing here is a background that I uploaded. On the top right, you're going to see that I have the ability to click create here, and I can choose that option from within this studio that I've already set up. If I choose live stream, it's going to show me all my destinations. So I can choose multiple destinations to go to, up to 3 on my particular package, and you'll see that I can customize for each destination. The other thing you'll notice is that I can put a title and a description, and I can also schedule it for later if I want to go live. Just going to disable those. I don't want to go live, but basically once you've entered those details and you hit save changes, you have that ability to do that. As far as local recording goes, if local gives you the ability to record both to your hard drive as well as to StreamYard's platform. So if I were to tick this box here. So I'm just going to back out of that because in this instance, I'm actually screen capturing and I don't need to go live or record at the moment, but that's where you would choose one of 2 of those options. Now, as far as the display goes here, you can see down the right hand side you have all these options. We're going to go through each one of these just quickly. So comments basically is when you go live, you have the ability to bring in comments from the platforms that you're streaming to. So in this case, if I click, this is how it's going to appear on your screen. Now, there are no comments because I am not live, but basically it will bring them in from, say, Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn, for example, and you can display them on screen, which is really good for interacting in real time if you're live. And in a live stream, you want to create engagement to gain more interest, I guess, in the algorithm on the platform that you're actually on. So that is the comments tab. Then you also have banners. So with banners, these are things like tickers. They're like calls to action that you can display on your screen while you're streaming or recording. So for example, here's one I prepared earlier, which actually shows you a ticker. So when you create these, you just click create a banner, which when you do that, you have the ability to type what you want in. You can choose to add some emojis or whatever if you want to do that. And it is going to let you create these to be displayed during your live stream. Now, if you're doing it as a solo creator, you just click on one and there it does. It appears with a bit of a call to action. What's this one? Please support and this video and like the channel and subscribe. That sounds like a pretty good idea. If you haven't yet done that, then I ask you to do that right now. And the other thing is the software that I'm using. What is it? Create live streams with StreamYard. Check out my affiliate link in the description. But you get the idea. The idea is that you want to create some calls to action there to use this particular banner feature for doing that. There's some other hints and tips I'll give you a little bit on how you might be able to say add buy me a coffee or something like that, and or QR codes, which I'll explain in a moment. The next one down the side here we're going to look at is the media assets. Now you can upload in MP4 and JPEG and also audio file MP3 different types of assets that you can use, and also PNG overlays. And this here, I have a timer which you can use to, say, give people a call to action where they might need to, say, ask a question, a last call on a live stream or something like that, or maybe you're having a competition and you're going to do a random wheel or something like that where you're going to choose a winner. StreamYard also has their logo that you can see there on your free version. That's there by default. To remove it, you have to pay, but when you pay, you have the ability to also remove it and or add your own logos and branding. Now, the other way you can add branding is through the overlay feature here. So here's one for people with a passion, which is my podcast, which I'm currently producing season 3 of. It's on YouTube. You can check that out. Basically, it's a PNG file. It's a transparent file with an overlay that was set up at 920 by 1080, which allows me to offer some branding during a live stream and or recording if I choose to use that. So you can add as many of these overlays as you want. You can also choose to add intro video or outro video, and you can even use these as countdown timers and things like that. There is a default one that's provided by StreamYard, and you can also add your own if you want to create your own, and you can add that as an MP4. Now, I'm not sure if there is a time restriction on that, but mine are about 30 seconds to a minute, which I think for a countdown for the start to open a stream, if you choose to do that, to build a bit of suspense, it's probably not a bad idea. Now, as far as backgrounds go, these you can upload yourself. You can use any number of tools, including ChatGPT's DALL-E and everything like that, to create your own. Now, I'm just going to remove myself from this stream just so you can see that's what the background looks like. I've added a number of these, and when you go to what we call a news format later, say in a podcast and or if you're live streaming with guests and there's multiple people on screen, it gives you a nice background. You can also add some music as well. So you can see here, these are the default ones. I don't tend to use the music, and you can loop the music. Make sure that if you're using music that you do have the rights to use it. If you don't have the rights and can't prove that you've got a license and or the rights, they may mute a section of your video or even give you a copyright strike or claim. So just be aware of that danger in live, that you can't just use music that you don't own or have the rights to. Now, just going over to the side here, we have style. So with style is you can choose how you appear inside your studio. So you can see on widescreen there, you can see I can go square. So these are just options you can choose of how you want to appear on screen. I prefer the widescreen. Here you have your color that you can choose. If you know your web color for, say, your brand, you can actually choose that. If you click on this, you have a picker. You can choose a brand color for your theme. Then you have your theme itself, which is how things are going to appear on screen when guests and things come in, whether you want to show their title or headline, and also if you want to change how that looks on screen. You can see I'm just clicking through these, minimal, and then you have block as well. I prefer the minimal layout, and again, if you choose to show headline, that's up to you, but basically I prefer to turn that off. But it's a easy way to create a bit of a lower third when someone comes into the stream or recording. As far as fonts go, I don't tend to change the default font. I do think it's easy to read, and I think that's important for live streaming on various devices. So I just use the default font, but you can, if you want to get creative and separate yourself from everyone else that's using the default, that might be an option for you. You can also change the default camera style to round or square. This over here is your private chat. So when you have guests come in, they're going to potentially want to chat with whoever's producing it. It might be you if you're a solo creator, or it might not be you. You might have a team member, but it gives them the ability to let them know what's coming next. If you're a solo creator, I wouldn't recommend that because that can be highly distracting. And the last thing is, if you're local recording and you're not live streaming and you are stopping and starting your recording, you can actually have multiple recordings within the studio, so you can actually see what you've already done and what you recorded, basically as a record of what you've done in that particular session that you're creating in the studio. You can see here my main screen, and underneath it is a number of what we refer to as layouts. So here is my single or solo layout. Then I have my cropped layout for guests. Then I have what we refer to as a news layout, which I'll show you in a moment how that works. But you can also go to your settings here in the main studio, and you can change and choose what layout features you want to be available to you. So in this instance, I've disabled 2 because they are guest layouts that I'm not needing for this video. But if I click on those, you'll see that they've been added down here as extra layouts. So I don't want them. So I just go to settings and I go to layouts, and I just remove the ones that I don't actually want to display or show on screen. So in this case, your news layout, you have the screen layout. We also have picture in picture, and we have the cinema layout, as well as a media slot that I've created over here using this edit layout feature. And you can see you have a dynamic camera, which is when more guests come, it shifts around. You can add a camera slot. You also have a media slot option where if you want to add, say, media or something like that, video, screen share, you can also add that. In this case, I already have one set up, which I'll show you in a moment. Here you have the ability to mute yourself or someone else. So if I click that, you'll see that that microphone there got muted. You can do that with your guests as well. You can also stop the webcam. If I do that, it'll show the background, which you can see there. You also have here is where you share or get your link to share your show with potential guests to come into the studio. The other thing you have here is present, which is what I want to show you from the news layout perspective. So if you have the higher end tiers, you can have an extra camera. If you want to share a slide, you can get a slide off your computer, which is in PDF format and or from Google Slides. In this case, I've uploaded a PDF, so I'm just going to place that one here. You can also share a screen. You can share a tab, a window, or an entire screen. In this case, I'm just going to share this. And then I'm also going to share a video file. All right, so now I have those files there uploaded. I can actually add them to the stage. And when I do, they're going to give me a different news type layout. So in this instance, you can see where the background image or the studio image becomes really important because it fills the background with something that is more theme-based around what your show might be. I can then change these formats. So in this instance, I'm picture-in-picture. This would be useful, say, for a webinar type format where you're teaching people and perhaps using a slide deck or something like that. You can just go cinema mode and or you can go like news mode. So this is like what's happening now. So this is good for reviews or one of these things if you're doing, say, a monologue, it's really useful because you can actually talk to topics. It might be that you've got articles up there or something like that. And this is the website that I'm sharing here. So this is interactive. This is actually one of my YouTube channels. And I can go and basically click on links and show them both in this mode and also in cinema or full screen mode. So you can see here, I can just display these particular website or something like that. So I can also add other things to the stage. So right here, I've added a Q&A to the stage, which is a slide and actually one of the shows I did live. And basically I've just got questions that people had asked and I can give feedback on those. So basically I just hit the arrow key and I am able to shift or cycle through those questions. And like you can add them like this to talk about them and or you can go to this slide and talk about them. So it's really useful to go this sort of on the fly editing is basically what this is. And as a solo creator, this can be a real game changer to your workflow. So I highly suggest trying this software out if you are someone who spends a lot of time editing on the other end and you do a lot of what I call or what is called talking head videos. So what you're seeing here, where someone's just sharing knowledge and talking and they're showing you how to do these things, then this is something that can be really useful to make better use of your time. Now, something that else makes really good use of your time is this, which is the Elgato Stream Deck. Now, this is not a sponsored spot, but I will put an affiliate link for this on Amazon that shows where you can get this. But basically, StreamYard have icons that you can configure to help you navigate this software. And you just click on this and change the different views that I want. So while talking, instead of hitting the hotkey, I can easily just click on what I want the view to look like and basically record on the fly, or live to drive, as we like to say in the modern media makers landscape or ecosystem. Is we want to minimize the amount of time it takes us to produce the content that we actually make. And that is just another way you can do that, is you can get something as simple as a Stream Deck and configure it as the hotkeys, or link it to the hotkeys here on this particular software, and before you know it, you are creating like a high-end producer. And if it's not you controlling it, it could be that your producer or someone from a remote team is actually using this on StreamYard and actually creating with it as well. So I'm just going to add this one to the stage now, which is a video. So I've chosen not to share the audio though, but you can see here that I can also share MP4s. I have the ability to play from here as well. So I'll just hit play. You can see that it plays again. I can also go full screen on that. I can go picture in picture, and I can even go news mode. So that's the power of creating in StreamYard, whether you're going live and or you're pre-recording. So what I find is a lot of people often ask, like, what are you using to produce your content? Given that I am a education-based channel here on Modern Media Makers and also on my other channels, I use this for the education content and the live streams that I actually do. But I also use it for my podcast, People with a Passion. And this is used for recording remote guests, because it's so easy to navigate between full screen and two people on screen and just me on the screen, and even if I need to share something else on screen. So you can see just how powerful this is in helping you create content, whether it be live and or pre-recording. If you're just producing something and you want to be quicker at it, much the same way as I'm doing this today. So I think pretty much that's everything, except one more thing that I want to talk about and show you. And to do that, I need to leave the studio, not my physical studio, but the StreamYard studio. So a feature that's being added that's still in testing that might also help you streamline and fast track how you make your short form content. So what StreamYard recently added at the end of 2024 is the ability for you to edit videos using some AI features. You have the ability to create shorts and reels from the files that are actually stored in your library. Now, you can also publish these to other channels just from within this software. And you can also choose to share or embed them as well if you want to on your website or on other platforms. So it is a really powerful feature and tool that this has been added to StreamYard recently that they're just improving on. So if I have a look at this video, for example, it's going to say to me that I can generate a number of short form videos from this. But what it does suggest is that I use interview style recordings. So this is really geared around podcasts, this particular feature. Now, this video isn't a podcast, so I'm not going to auto generate, but I can ask it to generate some suggestions on what it thinks will be good shorts and or reels using AI. And I thought that's worth sharing as well, because if you're someone who's in the content creation space and you're in the feed-based platforms where people are scrolling, then it can get really overwhelming creating a lot of short form content. So this gives you an awesome way to repurpose your content. And that brings me to the very last thing that StreamYard allows you to do. And I've already done a video on this channel on it. If you want to check it out, I'll put a link here in the video, which is to repurpose your current recordings as live streams to multiple platforms. I won't go any more into it than that, than to say that if you want to check out the video that explains how to do that, then it is here on the Modern Media Makers channel. With that, I want to say thank you for checking out this video. Don't forget, if you do want to check out the free version of the StreamYard software, then you can do so with the affiliate link in my description. And should you decide to subscribe to any one of their tiers in the future, then that means that I will earn a small commission for referring you to the platform. With that, I want to say, hopefully this helps you work out whether StreamYard is for you, and I will catch you on the other side of a People with a Passion or Modern Media Makers or OzSwish or Applaudable Media video. With that, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.